Imagine a room locked from the inside, windows sealed, door chained shut, so tight that not even air could slip in. And yet, inside that room, a body is found. Blood pooled across the floor, a knife buried deep in the chest, and the most shocking part? There was no way for a killer to get in. Police, forensic experts, everyone was baffled. The official report carried a chilling note, a murder that should have been impossible. Tonight's story is not just a crime tale. It's a riddle, a nightmare that defied all logic, a murder where every clue became not an answer, but another question. Until the very end, people whispered, maybe it wasn't a human who did this at all. Maybe it was a ghost, or someone who broke the very laws of reality. Welcome to the chilling story of the murder that should have been impossible. The story begins on what seemed like just another ordinary night. A small town, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone else. The victim's name was Daniel Whitaker, a 40-year-old accountant, a quiet man, simple life, no serious enemies, and a routine so regular it could be set to a clock. Mornings at the office, evenings at home, nights with a book or TV. But on that night, around 11:30 p.m., neighbors heard something strange, a heavy thud, as if something had crashed to the floor. They looked outside. Nothing unusual. Everything seemed normal. The next morning, when Daniel didn't show up to work, his boss called. No answer. Police were dispatched. They broke open the front door, and the house was silent. Then they reached the bedroom. And inside, they walked into a scene out of a nightmare. Daniel lay on the bed, flat on his back, a knife buried deep in his chest. Blood had soaked the sheets and pooled around the bed. But the most shocking part wasn't the body. It was the room itself. The bedroom door was locked from the inside, with the chains still in place. Every window was sealed shut with old screws and paint, untouched for years. No sign of forced entry, no broken locks, nothing disturbed. It was, by all logic, impossible for anyone to have gotten in or out. Forensics arrived and documented everything, and every photo only made the puzzle harder. The knife was from Daniel's own kitchen, not brought by an outsider. Fingerprints? Only Daniel's. On the knife, on the doorknob, on the windows. No foreign prints at all. The blood spatter showed only one set of footprints, Daniel's. No intruder. Which meant either this murder never happened, or Daniel somehow murdered himself in a way that wasn't possible. But suicide was ruled out instantly. The angle of the stab wound was downward, through the chest. The force required was far beyond self-infliction. Detective Laura Briggs, who led the case, put it bluntly. This isn't a simple murder. This is a locked room mystery. And if we can't solve it, people will believe the killer wasn't even human. The investigation began. Friends, neighbors, colleagues, everyone was questioned. One neighbor swore they had seen the shadow of a woman near Daniel's house that night, but CCTV cameras showed nothing. Daniel's ex-wife claimed he had been depressed, suggesting maybe it was suicide, but forensics had already shut that theory down. At work, colleagues revealed something darker. Daniel had recently discovered evidence of a massive fraud within his company. He had hinted he might expose it. Was he silenced? Every lead seemed promising, but every lead ran into the same wall, the locked room. Then, strange clues began to emerge. The first was a broken wristwatch found beside the bed. It had stopped at 11:34 p.m., the exact time neighbors had reported hearing the thud. The second was a smudged note hidden in his desk drawer. It read, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." Whose words were they? The handwriting could have been Daniel's or someone else's. And the third, a single long black hair found on Daniel's pillow, clearly belonging to a woman. DNA tests were inconclusive. No match in the database. Each clue deepened the maze. Each answer opened a door, only for that door to slam shut again. Detective Briggs made a bold move. She ordered the entire house to be reconstructed for testing. Every lock, every screw, every frame was examined. And at last, something. One of the bedroom windows, though seemingly sealed, had faint chipping in the paint around the frame. Closer inspection revealed the truth. The window could be opened. It had been tampered with before, carefully, quietly. A screw had been loosened just enough that someone skilled could slip it open and shut it again without leaving obvious marks. Forensics tested it. The theory worked. The killer had used the window. But that only solved half the riddle. The bigger problem remained, the locked chain on the door. If the killer had entered through the window, how could they have left and locked the chain from outside? The answer stunned everyone. Investigators demonstrated how a thin, strong wire could be slid through the narrow gap in the doorframe, hooked onto the chain, and pulled shut from the outside. From inside, it looked perfectly normal, just as police had found it. The perfect illusion. More tests were run, and the DNA from the black hair was reanalyzed using new methods. This time, a partial match came through. It belonged to Maria Collins, a colleague of Daniel's. At first, Maria denied everything. She claimed she had nothing to do with it. But a search of her apartment uncovered a reel of thin wire, the same type used to lock the chain. Investigators dug deeper, and the truth came out. Maria and Daniel had been having a secret affair, but when Daniel ended it, Maria spiraled into obsession. It wasn't just personal. She was also implicated in the corporate fraud Daniel was about to expose. If he went public, her life and career would be destroyed. So she planned the perfect murder. She entered through the loosened window, took a knife from Daniel's kitchen, stabbed him in his sleep, wiped every trace of her fingerprints, then used the wire to lock the chain from outside, making the murder look impossible. It would have worked. Every detail was flawless, but one mistake undid her: that single strand of hair. Maria was arrested and, after trial, sentenced to life in prison. The case became known forever as the murder that should have been impossible. To this day, people say, if not for that one strand of hair, Maria might never have been caught. The world would still be asking if the killer was a ghost or something beyond human. Locked room mysteries are rare, but when they happen, they don't just haunt the victims, they haunt the detectives too. They're puzzles that mock logic, that whisper to us that maybe, just maybe, the impossible isn't so impossible after all. And that's why this case will always be remembered. A story that reminds us, no matter how perfect the plan, one tiny mistake, one overlooked detail, can bring it all crashing down. If this story shook you, imagine how many cases out there hide secrets we may never solve. Subscribe for more chilling mysteries, because sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction.